Oops.
Well, waiting all day for SNF. It's finally here, and the Chiefs are taking control over the Detroit Lions later on in the fourth quarter. Hello, everyone. I'm Chase Younts, joined alongside Alex Frank after a long day of NFL football that started in the AM over in London and will be ending here shortly on NBC after the conclusion of the Lions and Chiefs game. A lot has happened from start to finish in between the entire day, jam-packed amount of football going on. Alex, from a different location today, how you doing?
Well, Chase, it's great to be with you as always. Welcome to our live stream, waiting all day for Sunday night, post-game edition, Lions and Chiefs. It's been an interesting game. It's been an interesting day in the NFL that, as you mentioned, started early this morning in the United States, overseas. But I'm doing great. It's a beautiful weekend up here in Lake Michigan. The Buckeyes getting to win in Champaign yesterday. Some good college football, Chase. The Bearcats are ranked. How about the Cincinnati Bearcats are ranked?
Big stuff.
And, this has been a good Sunday night football game. A lot of drama. Two coaches. Clearly, they understand the significance of this game, even though it's an interconference matchup. In fact, I think it's both teams are playing their bonus 17th game in this matchup tonight because of that bonus 17th game. So, but this has still been a very important matchup, and Dan Campbell and Andy Reid clearly understood that.
Yeah, they definitely have, and the Chiefs have really found a way after the late portion of the second quarter and going for that 2-for-1 from the late second quarter into the early third quarter, and have taken advantage of that and were able to build themselves a 10-point lead. Again, they've been able to stop a couple of Detroit fourth down attempts on the evening. Both teams have been able to do so as well. But, the Chiefs are back behind that crowd. Again, Patrick Mahomes, 4 total touchdowns, no turnovers, and 257 passing yards currently, and has 34 on the ground. He looks like himself. He looks like his normal self tonight, and is the main reason why the Chiefs are winning this football game.
Well, definitely. I mean, four total touchdowns, over 250 yards. I mean, what he's doing tonight, I said this to Ryan as we're watching this game. I'm like, does he look like he's running more this season than he has been in recent seasons? Because I feel like we're seeing shades of the early Mahomes that we saw in 18, 19, 20, and 21 when he was running wild. And you look at this Chiefs schedule, it's going to get pretty tough, as they're showing it right now on the broadcast. 3:21 to go in the fourth quarter. Chiefs up 27-17. But the Chiefs offense has really gotten going the last few weeks, even though they lost to Jacksonville this past Monday. I think what we're seeing is shades of what we saw in the early part of Mahomes' career, where they can just come at you in so many different ways. Look, Travis Kelce looks good for being 36 years old. Isaiah Pacheco's running hard. Xavier Worthy looks fast. And this is the Chiefs team that can scare every team they play. Like, you can't just blitz Mahomes now because he can take off and run. And if you want to blitz him, that's fine. He'll just dump it off to Kelce, Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy. This Chiefs offense looks a lot better than they were last year or 2 years ago.
And not to mention, they get a healthy, off-suspension Rashee Rice after this Lions game. So adding him to the fold, a guy that in 2023 went for nearly 1,000 yards in a critical portion of their Super Bowl run that year to go back-to-back. So, big part for them to get back. And just looking at the Chiefs in general, I mean, as long as you've got that core group of Mahomes, Travis Kelce playing at a high level. Chris Jones has played very well tonight. Obviously was in the media with some flack about that final Jaguars offensive play where Trevor Lawrence scored the game-winning touchdown on Monday night. But when you got Andy Reid, a guy that's an unbelievable motivator, one of the greatest offensive minds of all time, they just seem to find a way in whatever way possible. And now they're playing motivated football, and they're playing at a high level. Again, these Chiefs teams that we saw from last year, again, it was a team that, they won 15 games in the regular season. And then the year before, they narrowly squeaked by and won the AFC West. But it just looked, like you mentioned with these last 2 years, it just looked different. But now they're starting to get that form and talking about Patrick Mahomes running the football and everything. He's turning back the clock a little bit. He's like, you know what? I mean, I got to take matters in my own hands and be able to scramble, extend plays, add another element to my game, but add another element to the Chiefs' offense as to when it's third down. I mean, you can't just drop everyone back in coverage. You can't have a spy try to crash too hard on him because he'll make some plays in the pocket and buy enough time to use his leg through the first down. And it's been shown tonight. It's been shown this entire season.
I feel like Andy Reid, I think he motivated his team. I think they heard that the Lions were the favorites coming into this game. A lot of people were picking them. I mean, you saw on Football Night in America that almost 80% of America was picking them to win this game. And tonight, what you saw was a Chiefs team that looked like they were playing with a purpose, that they were playing with a vengeance, that they knew if they dropped this game and they fell to 2-4, where they lost their first two games, won their next two, and then lost their next two. But now, as they face a 3rd and 6 with 3:14 to go, Mahomes dropping back, a sack there. They've been struggling to get to Mahomes tonight, the Lions' defensive front. They did there, so the Chiefs will kick a field goal. I thought Harrison Butker had one of the worst extra point attempts I've seen.
It was bad. That was really bad. I mean, again, though, whatever way, I mean, the Chiefs are just fine. They're finding a way to win tonight against a very good team in Detroit. And before anyone asks the question of, do we need to have panic on Detroit? No, we don't. They're injured right now. They were still able to compete. They're still playing the same way that they had before, aggressive, take no prisoners. We're not, just going to play a very soft style of football. That's not who Dan Campbell and this Detroit Lions team are. I mean, for crying out loud, David Montgomery almost had a touchdown pass to Jared Goff. Whoever had that slip of a Montgomery touchdown pass or a Goff touchdown reception, I feel sorry for you, but I felt great for you in those 45 seconds where it actually was a real thing.
Well, I told you they were going to run a trick play on that 4th and inches.
That's true. I didn't think it was going to be that much trickery on that one, but it happened.
Well, you want to talk about that, but you also want to talk about the 4th and 2 that the Lions had in the second quarter, leading 10-6. That was a drop pass by Amon-Ra St. Brown. If he makes that catch, the Lions probably sustain that drive. The Chiefs take over. They go down and get a touchdown and make it 13-10. It's really been all Chiefs from there. In fact, they've outscored as Butker makes a 33-yard field goal, 2:26 to go in the fourth quarter. So the Chiefs have outscored the Lions since trailing 10-6, 24-7, and now 2:26 to go. Let me bring in Ryan here as he's watching the game with me. We're up at our lake house in St. Joseph, Michigan. And Ryan, always a good friend of the show here as he joins us here on the Waiting All Day for Sunday Night podcast. All right, kind of give me your thoughts on this game, because you've been saying the Lions defense has been struggling, to say the least. Surprised or concerned, or what are you feeling right now?
I think some dumb penalties by the Lions. The Aiden Hutchinson roughing the passer on Mahomes was just a boneheaded play by Hutchinson. He took 2 steps, then a sack. Not great. Also, the secondary for the Lions, they just looked undisciplined at times. They were in the wrong spots at times, especially when Mahomes would roll out and go to his receivers who are wide open. I'm talking about Hollywood Brown for that touchdown. Also, you can see Xavier Worthen going down the sideline. You're seeing the linebackers a little too slow. They're reminding me a little bit of the Bengals linebackers in the 425 game. Oh, but I do know that they had some injuries. Kirby Joseph, we saw, was on the injury tent for a little bit. He was struggling to walk, finally got to be able to go back into the game. And we also know Brian Branch was a little banged up before this game, but he got to have the go-ahead. So I'm not exactly worried about the Lions. They're still going to be 4-2 coming out after this. The game next week against the Buccaneers, sneaky game of the year candidate. It'll be on Monday Night Football. The early game, it'll be at 7:15. So it's going to be really exciting to watch. I'm not too worried yet. We'll see what happens next week. It'll be a huge test for Jared Goff and the Lions.
Well, look, I mean, when you're, into what Ryan was saying, when you have a team like Detroit that has been playing so well these last 4 weeks, that's going to be a offsides on Kansas City. Sam Laporte has looked really good tonight, even though the Lions appear to be on the losing end of this one. Look, it's one game. You're losing at Arrowhead on Sunday Night Football. I mean, look, that's not bad by any means. It's disappointing. considering what this season has been, even after losing to Green Bay week 1. Now, if they lose to Tampa Bay next week, as Ryan, you were saying, then that's going to be concerning. Speaking of Tampa Bay, as we review the day that's been in the NFL, as we start to do that, Chase, is anybody playing better at quarterback than Baker Mayfield right now?
No, he's the MVP front runner 6 weeks through. I mean, a third of the way through the season, this guy is legit. I mean, again, he was number 1 overall pick in 2018, goes to the Browns, leads into the playoffs for the first time in nearly 20 years, has a playoff victory for the first time in nearly 25 years. Shoo him away out of Cleveland, bounces around. Carolina was playing defensive tackle in scout team, and then the Rams, where he just shows up for a little bit, and it's like Sean McVay kind of got him right, and then goes to Tampa, and all he's done is just won back-to-back division titles and looking to be en route for another one. And Baker Mayfield has just played that gunslinger style of football and has also been using his legs this year, putting his body a bit on the line. But, man, the Bucs are a fun team to watch. Baker Mayfield has just played that advertised excellence of football this season. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 5-1, man. I mean, if you're down there in that Tampa, St. Petersburg area, smiles are on your faces all across the area.
Well, I tell you, you look at the box score today for Tampa Bay and their leading receivers, Cameron Johnson. You've heard of Cameron Johnson, right?
Yeah, I mean, barely.
For 64 yards and a touchdown. Sterling Shepard, Baker Mayfield's college teammate at Oklahoma, 2 for 51. Cade Otton, you know him at least, 5 for 51. Tez Johnson, the smallest player in the draft, I believe, 1 catch for 45 yards. It was a touchdown as the Lions turn it over on downs, and they have no timeouts inside 2 minutes. So that'll probably do it for Detroit. Emeka Egbuka left this game with a hamstring injury. Hopefully he's okay. 2 for 24. Rashad White, 3 for 21. And despite missing top 4 wide receivers, Baker Mayfield was still 17 of 23 for 256, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, what he's doing is absurd, to think about. Now on the season, as you mentioned, he's the MVP frontrunner. 1,500, excuse me for all these ads popping up on ESPN, 1,539 yards, 12 touchdowns, 1 pick, QBR 70.4. I mean, if you would have told me Baker Mayfield would have succeeded Tom Brady in Tampa Bay when there are people who wanted Kyle Trask to be the starter 2 years ago, what are those people saying now?
Tough stuff. I mean, eat your words, and trust me, Buccaneers fans have. They don't mind that Baker Mayfield's doing great down there. So, it's been good stuff. And then on the on the flip side, again, with Mac Jones, he threw for over 350 yards again this week, but just those 2 interceptions, lost a fumble on a big pressure later on in the game. I mean, he's looked pretty good this year. Let's just keep a spade a spade. Obviously, when Brock Purdy is available, they'll turn back to Brock Purdy as their guy that they paid a lot of money to, the guy that operates that offense as an efficient point guard at the quarterback position. It's just injuries, man, and that's just so unfortunate to see what happened to Fred Warner earlier. Broken ankle along with a dislocation. That's just horrible, man. That's horrible to see it's horrible to see anyone go through that, but it's horrible to see arguably the best linebacker in football deal with that.
And a genuinely really good dude on top of that. So major prayers to Fred Warner, his wife Sydney, the entire Warner family, and the 49ers defense. Robert Saleh now has lost his top 2 defenders. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can weather the storm on that this season. We'll preview their matchup on Sunday Night Football on NBC next week later on in this show. So that was the 4:25 game on CBS. It was flexed in. It took the place of Bengals-Packers. Now, Chase, obviously, you don't want to spend – I mean, look, was it a better performance today from the Bengals? Sure. Second half, I think there are a lot of positives to take away. But I will say this, 2 things. One, I'm not trying to get too optimistic because they still lost and it's disappointing. And number 2, if they lose to Pittsburgh on Thursday, that's it.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, the same message that Zach Taylor's putting out is stale. it's stale at this point. They got to go out there and somehow get a win on Thursday against a Steelers team that's rolling at 4-1. Beat the Browns earlier. I mean, obviously, it's not saying a whole lot, but still won a tough AFC North matchup. So, I mean, with Joe Flacco, I thought Flacco looked pretty good in the second half. I thought the offensive game plan was let's just call it, how it was. I thought that was horrible. I thought that was one of the worst first halves I've ever seen. It was terrible.
So we bring Ryan back in here.
But I mean,
I got stuff to say.
Oh boy, Chase, you better be ready for this.
I'm ready.
All right, we're gonna go to the first drive. Run, pass. The Zach Taylor special. I was talking to Alex about this.
After an interception, they gave you good field position, by the way, Chase. That's the thing that ticked me off the most. You're giving the ball like the 40-yard line. Now, if the inside handoff to Chase works and you get, let's say, 5 or 10 yards, that's one thing. You lose 3. So what do? Ryan, what do we do after we lose 3 yards on a run on 2nd and 13?
We run it again. But I want to talk about this. Alex and I host a podcast, Buckeye Hangover, that we host for Ohio State. Ohio State did something very similar. They would run it on first, run on second, then finally pass on third. It's a little different for them because they're playing more inferior opponents. For the Bengals, though, we know they have a terrible offensive line. We know Orlando Brown is pretty much lost it at this point. We need a new left tackle at this point. We know that Ted Karras has lost pretty much all of it. He's lost probably 70% of what he was last year. We probably need a new center. Matt Lee may be coming up soon. And we also know that we did not
well, we got a post-game scuffle, Chase.
Over here.
How about that?
Wow.
We also know that our left guard was a revolving door this week because we did not have Dalton Risner. We also did not have.
Well, they are going at it. Oh boy,
Lucas Patrick.
Oh, punches are being. Oh my goodness.
Some fines there. Woo! Wow, there were fines and hopefully no suspensions come for this. I don't know who started it. I'm intrigued to see who's in the middle of this entire thing. I mean, I see Karlaftis standing up, but I don't think he was. Oh, wow! Someone's got to get tackled down.
Oh boy, this is not the first time we've seen a red team try to fight a team from the state up north. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
We pause for.
The
game just went final. If you're watching this live stream and you're watching SNF on NBC, the game just went final. Look, the Chiefs won 30-17. Mahomes clearly pretty happy with this win. He was firing up the crowd. He was asking the crowd to get into it. Let's see what happens here. So Brian Branch does not dap up Mahomes, and Mahomes kind of didn't like that.
It didn't look like.
It was a cheap shot from Brian Branch.
Okay, it wasn't terrible. It was just a slap to the face mask because I think they were talking smack to him.
We had Pacheco was talking something to him.
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster goes down.
I wouldn't say Brian Branch did anything terrible. He slapped him. That's fine, but it's not.
That's okay, Juju. Okay.
All right.
Let's go back to
Juju.
Not the first time we've seen something like this.
I mean, the Hollywood antics from Juju Smith-Schuster. Again, I mean, the acting school should have been in his repertoire at USC. I mean, you're already in Hollywood, so might as well make your acting debut there. That wasn't that hard. Come on.
Let's go back to Bengals Packers though real fast. I want to continue about the run pass. First half was absolutely atrocious by Zach Taylor. You know your first series on offense is scripted. We all know this. We're all football fans. We know how it works.
One of the worst scripts ever, jeez.
Hollywood wouldn't take that script.
Hold on. There was something that came out that Jamar Chase had to audible a play from Zach Taylor's play call. Jamar Chase audibling. That's how bad it's getting.
Have you ever heard a receiver audible a play ever?
Now, I will say it's Joe Flacco's first start, and we just traded for 5 days ago, so he's not be comfortable with audibles. Jamar Chase is, so maybe that's the thing. But first drive, 3 and out. Second drive, first down, we go crazy. Then we're done. Third drive, 3 and out. Embarrassing. The most exciting thing in the first half was Evan McPherson his 67-yard field goal that didn't count after a timeout.
That tells you how bad
Evan McPherson was 0 for 2.
He was 1
for 3 on field goals. He missed a 67-yard field goal attempt and a 56-yard field goal attempt. Yeah, not unexpected going 0 for 2 when you're put in a terrible situation on a 67-yard field goal and a 56-yard field goal into the wind. Yeah, I don't blame him for going 0 for 2. He's just Zach Taylor's just trying to hurt his stats at this point. Anyway, Going back real fast, going back to this first half, it was one of the worst game plans I've ever seen. Here's the problem. We know that the offensive line isn't good. We know that we can't do pitches. We know that we can't do screens. Guess what we did? We did a pitch. We did a screen that didn't do anything. And guess what? I think it's been confirmed. Samaje Perine a better running back than Chase Brown.
All right.
No, but I think, Ryan, you have a point here.
Change of pace. Yeah, change of pace. Back.
Yeah, but it looks like Samaje Perine has nothing to lose because he knows he's not the feature back. So when he gets his opportunities, he's going to run hard. I mean, it was like that when Joe Mixon was here the last 2 seasons.
Chase Brown has the 40th most yards. 40th. That's a backup running back type of yardage production.
Yeah.
He's been so unproductive this season. It's insane. Yes, a lot of it's due to the offensive line, but sometimes you got to at least bust one kind of big run. It's almost like he's not seeing the field correctly, or he's scared that he's just going to get hit because the offensive line's so bad. I don't know what it is, but until I see something from him, Samaje Perine's been the better runner than Chase Brown. So I think right now that Perine should be playing over him. Can you prove me wrong, though, Chase? I actually want to hear an argument about this. I think this would be a good banter right here.
I think
we're arguing about a terrible football team. I'm
Yes,
not going to continue an argument. So we're arguing about a bad football team. I you know what? I'd rather kick rocks. I'm being real.
Let's talk about Indiana right now. Talk about the Hoosiers.
The Hoosiers are tough. They're doing a good job, but
the Hoosiers at least the Hoosiers at least can run the football, and they also have a head coach that I mean, just Google him and you'll know who he is.
Yeah, exactly. Just Google him. But yeah, I mean the Bengals, tough stuff. I mean, whatever. And they in the 1:00 games.
Can I say this real quick? Jamar Chase, 16 catches, 204 yards, and 2 touchdowns. No, I'm sorry, 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. By the way, he's done that with 2 different quarterbacks. Don't ever question Jamar Chase's eliteness.
Yeah, no doubt. You can't. And
he's emerged as a real leader. That's really positive in this stretch. I think you have to like that. All right, let's go to the 1:00 games.
I mean, look at this. I mean, if it's not, it should be over for Mike McDaniel. The locker room's lost.
Oh.
You got Tua going up there to the presser talking about players not showing up to players-only meetings. If you're having a players-only meeting, then pack for Cancun in December. But 2, if the quarterback's losing the locker room talking about people aren't showing up for players-only meetings, and that's a point of emphasis right now, this early into the season, 6 games out of 18 weeks, I mean, come on, it's time for McDaniel to go. It's an overstayed welcome. You already know Chris Greer and those guys. They don't like holding on to coaches for a long time like that. They don't. He made the playoffs the first 2 seasons, and they lose to the Bills in a shootout with Skylar Thompson, and then they go to the frigid Antarctica of the Midwest of America and lose to Patrick Mahomes, and they go 8-9 last year. And now they start off 1-5. It doesn't get much easier for the Dolphins. They got to blow it up. They got to blow it up right now. Tyreek Hill's not going to be on the team next year. Jalen Waddle will sign to an extension. Is Tua really their guy? And Mike McDaniel, I mean, the 4th grade act is over with. I'm done. I'm done with this.
I thought players-only meetings happened once.
Consistently, it's like, wow, they're still happening. Like,
whether or not you're showing up, they're happening. So
someone's not getting the memo.
Jeez,
that's just bad.
I mean, this is absurd. Okay, yeah, if they lose to Cleveland next week, yeah, all right.
I think they will. I'll be completely honest with you. I mean, obviously, you got to preview the game a little bit, but I don't know, man. You got that. The Chargers almost lost that game. That's another thing. They somehow were able to survive that game because Miami was able to piss down their leg in the final 30 seconds of the game. The Chargers had a great kick return. They couldn't get Justin Herbert down. The Dolphins couldn't get Justin Herbert down. But then, they couldn't tackle Lad McConkey. He was able to get those yards after catch and make a play there. So, I mean, all around just terrible effort in the last minute right there by the Miami Dolphins after a great ending for the offense. And Darren Waller had a game-winning touchdown ripped right out of his hands because the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Justin Herbert, 29 of 38, 264, 2 touchdowns, QBR of 64.7, passer rating 112.2. Some guy named Kamani Vidal, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, 18 carries for 124. The aforementioned lad Makaki, 7 for 100. Tua, by the way, this is a typical Tua stat line, 21 of 32. That's good. 205, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Devon Achane still playing hard, at least. He's probably showing up on time to these players only meeting. 16 carries for 128, 2 touchdowns, also 4 receptions for 22 yards. Tyreek Hill, like, what? I wonder what he was doing during the game today. Was he even watching the game today?
If he was watching the game, he probably had extra buttered popcorn to watch the show from back home. That's all I gotta say. I mean, the Miami Dolphins are a mess right now, and the Chargers. I mean, if they would have lost that game, I mean, what a catastrophe it would have been from starting 3-0 to 3-3. So they barely were able to get out of this thing alive because the clown show that the Miami Dolphins right now are running was able to pull through the final act. So
I'll tell you how bad the Dolphins are. Okay, they're so bad that John Taffer, the host of Bar Rescue, can't even rescue them.
Man, that and wow. I mean, I know bars down in Miami are one thing, but when Taffer's like, yeah, I don't know about that one. Stay away from that. Whew, you're going under.
Well, one team that has been rescued, Chase, let's get some positivity, the New England Patriots. Drake May looks really good right now, and it's really good to see the Patriots. I know. I might be getting eye rolls right now from those of you listening to us, but the Patriots look like they have something cooking up in New England.
And they're 4-2. Yeah, I mean, they look good. I mean, they're coming off that win against the. They came off against that win against the Bills on SNF, and they go down to New Orleans. I know, obviously, had to claw it out a little bit and won by 6, but who cares? A win's a win in the National Football League, any given Sunday type of league. So the Patriots look really good. I mean, there's obviously some people that are like, man, we didn't expect the Patriots to be 4-2. But then on the flip side, look at the Colts. No one expected the Colts to be 5-1 with Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback. But here we are.
Here we are. I mean, he was good again today. Jonathan Taylor had 21 carries for 123 and a touchdown, 5.9 yards a carry. Tyler Warren looks fantastic, 6 for 63 and a touchdown. So it's like we're turning back the clock when you have the Patriots at 4-2, the Colts at 5-1, the Chargers at 4-2, the Steelers at 4-1. And what is this? 2006, 2007, 2008? I mean, I mean, this is the NFL for you. It's wide open this season. Other 1:00 game takeaways. The Carolina Panthers are 500.
Yeah. I mean, Canales and those guys, they're finding ways to win late. They found a way to win late last week against the Miami Dolphins, and they found a way to win at the buzzer against the Dallas Cowboys. They're 3-3 right now. Bryce Young has looked, he's looked pretty good over the stretch of the last couple of weeks. They play the Jets next Sunday in New York after what happened to them earlier in the day where they could have won the football game, believe it or not.
By having negative 10 passing yards. Oh, my
exactly. God. And I want to mention this. If the Panthers are able to take care of business next week and go 4-3, they've got a game against the Buffalo Bills on October 26th in Charlotte, 1:00 on Fox. Now, mention that's not a Fox doubleheader. You could see Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady slide over there.
And Charlotte. I mean, who would have thought that? And by the way, the Bills are hosting Kansas City the next week, so trap game to the extreme potentially coming. The Bills coming off a bye. We've seen them trip up in these games in years past. I mean, it could happen again. Now, another development from today. Chase, what school in the country is the best at developing wide receivers?
I mean, Ohio State has the depth of all of that. And JSN for the Seattle Seahawks was able to show that off today with Sam Darnold and those guys. The Seahawks are 4-2.
Leads the league in receiving yards. Good win for Seattle. I'm not ready to panic about the Jaguars yet. They've won some good games this season. They just beat the Niners and the Chiefs, okay? You lose at home to Seattle. I'm not going to diss on them or anything. They go to London next week for what could be a really good London matchup. Rams and Jaguars next week.
And
That's
the
got
Rams
some
took,
interest.
yeah, and the Rams took care of business against the Ravens. Obviously, not saying a whole lot right now if Lamar Jackson
well,
not playing, but I mean, they were still to take care of business, hold the Ravens to 3 points, and yeah, I mean that sets up a really good matchup between the Rams and the Jaguars next week in London. Speaking of this past London game that happened earlier in the day,
oh God.
ugly. I didn't get a chance to see a second of it, and I'm quite glad I didn't. I was calling soccer. But 13-11, I looked at it and I almost threw up. I was like, oh my gosh. And the fact that I found out that the Jets had the lead in the fourth quarter and the Broncos had to kick a field goal to go ahead with like 5 minutes to go is just nuts. So whoever watched that game, you know what? I shall salute you. Okay. Because that's a tough watch.
Yeah, I mean, look, Denver's won 3 straight games. They appear to be back. I mean, they've got a. You start looking at their schedule. I was telling Ryan this earlier today. Their next 5 games. Okay, they got 5 games before their bye week. They're
Yep.
home to the Giants, and we'll get to them in a minute because they may have something with their rookies. They host the Cowboys. They should beat them. They are at the Texans. Toss up. They host the Raiders. They host the Chiefs. 4 of their next 5 games are at home. This team could get this team. Chase, we saw it last year. They started a little slow, but they got going right around October, November. So if they can do that again this season, this division's going to come right down to the wire. As long as the Broncos take care of business against the teams they should be, which they have in the last 3 weeks, plus they beat Philadelphia, which now it looks like that's what they should have done. So we'll see what happens with the Broncos. Meanwhile, the Jets.
Woof.
I mean, yeah, you hear Ryan in the background.
That's tough.
Cool.
That's tough.
Remember when we were all like after week 1, we were like, well, this could work. Aaron Glenn, Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, okay. Well.
Yeah, I think the inner workings of the Jets organization said, yeah, we're not like this is too good. Let's not we gotta go back down to the status quo at that rate. We gotta, stuff's not looking great, is all I gotta say. And that's tough for the New York Jets. Before we roll on out of here, I do want to mention a couple of the games next week, and then we can kind of take a second to look at that Sunday night football game. We'll preview obviously more of these games at more in-depth rate later on in the week. But you look at the Thursday night game, it's obviously this is the Bengals season pretty much. Yep. We'll say that. And then the Steelers are looking to go 5-1 and just extend the gap on the AFC North and try to create a cushion. That London game on Sunday morning with 2 4-2 teams, the Rams and the Jaguars. I don't think anyone expected this to be a great matchup, but here we are with that. The Chiefs and the Raiders. The Raiders always play the Chiefs tough, especially at Arrowhead. They do. So keep an eye out for that one. Should be a fun matchup. The Eagles and Vikings, the early game on Fox.
Ooh.
Will we see J.J. McCarthy? That's going to be the question that needs to be answered later on throughout the week. And can the Eagles get off the schneid after losing 2 in a row? So, that's a big one. Colts Chargers. We talk about this. This was an SNF staple for years. And now it's a 4-5 game, but it's 5-1 Colts versus the 4-2 Chargers. And I mean, that's going to be a fun one out there in SoFi. I can't wait for that.
Eagle on the call.
Yes. I mean, that's a great game for them. And, you can't get enough of that. And then
the only thing we need is Dan Fouts to reunite with Ian Eagle, former Chargers quarterback who played in the Freezer Bowl, Chase. We can imagine if Dan Fouts was calling this game. That's a great matchup. 405 CBS, 2 shades of blue and sunny SoCal.
Exactly. And then you got that main 4:00 game on Fox, and you got Commanders Cowboys. That should be a good one. Again, NFC East rivalry. That's always fun. And then Monday, we'll go to Sunday night in a second. But Monday, you got that big time Bucks Lions game. It's a part of a doubleheader. It's a 7:00 Monday game. The second time the Bucks have played a road Monday night football game at 7:00 this year. It'll be on ABC and ESPN. And then later on is that Texans and Seahawks game. The Texans coming off of 2 straight wins in a bye week, and the Seahawks getting off this win against the Jaguars at 4-2. But that's Sunday night football game. The Falcons, they play the Bills tomorrow night. So if they're able to get a big win, I mean, that could carry for a very long time, and hopefully for them over across the West Coast against the 4-2 Niners, which they open up at 3.5-point favorites. I mean,
quarterback, for the Niners, it could be Mac Jones.
Yeah. Could be Matt, could be Brock. I mean, there's questions that are going to be, asked about that. How's this Niners defense going to fill the large gaping, sinkhole from where Fred Warner once was able to fill in that defense? Injuries across the board for them. The Falcons are very inconsistent, but when they play, when they play their best football, they're a pretty good football team. I mean, they've got wins over the Commanders. They were able to beat the Vikings on SNF. This is the second SNF game in which will be their 6th game of the season. So they've seen the primetime ways a little bit.
They have. I mean, it'll be the 3rd primetime game this season. It'll be the first SNF game, SNF on NBC game in Santa Clara, which is obviously where Super Bowl 60 is. Ryan asked me this question earlier today after Fred Warner went down. He's like, who else is good on their defense right now?
And it gets to a point. It's not like you're in college where, like, example for Ohio State, some guy goes down, you got a 5-star waiting right there. It's not that. You're talking about guys that are 30 years old that have bounced around a little bit, that you got to bring guys up from the practice squad that were once that guy or still looking to be that guy and everything else. It's a tough situation to play in. And, there's only so deep that you could go when it comes to players and trying to fill those guys in and how Robert Saleh is going to move those pieces around to try to, maintain a defense that's going to be well enough for this team to keep going for the rest of the season and make it to the playoffs. But, that's going to be a question that we could have maybe the slightest of answers coming next Sunday night.
It'll be interesting. All right, Ryan, I'll bring you in one more time as we get ready to close things out here. If you had to pick your favorite Week 7 game, what game would you say?
I'm not going to pick the Buccaneers at Lions game because I already said that there's potential for game of the year. I'm going to go with a different one. And I also don't want to go with the Colts Chargers because that's another game that we really think is going to be good.
And it should be.
I want to go with a sneaky type of game that has the potential to be good, but we have to see a little bit. I want to see the Giants in Denver.
Oh.
Kevin Harlan's on the call. Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterway after that electric Thursday night game against Philly. I want to see if they can continue that momentum against Denver, who has one of the best defenses in the NFL. Can Bo Nix continue this momentum? He did not look great against the Jets, but it is a weird game because it's in London. They're in Denver, which is a huge time difference. Will they be jet lagged at all? It'll be interesting to see. They're not taking their bye week right after. Some teams do, some teams don't. Denver decided not to. Let's see what the Giants can do with this momentum with Jackson Dart. I mean, I know Malik Neighbors is out, but it's going to be interesting to see how this works. I'm excited for that game. I really think it's going to be.
That's a great pick.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, you got those young guns in Dart and Scatteraboo. I mean, they've changed the perception of the New York Giants recently. I know it's only been a few games since Dart has become the starter. But 2-1, it easily could have been 3-0 if they weren't putting the ball on the turf and turning it over in New Orleans, and they would be a 500 football team.
Dallas, if they could get one stop in Dallas too, they could be 4-2 right now. It's not that inconceivable.
It really isn't. And when you look at, obviously the Broncos have a great defense and a great pass rush, but the Giants have a great pass rush of their own. And Bo Nix hasn't necessarily played the greatest of football to start off this season. So I think it's going to come down to who's able to make plays when they need to make plays, but at the same time, who's going to be able to make those points off turnovers, because this will be a game where there's going to be chances for these defenses to collapse the pocket and try to get after an empty hand of the quarterback and try to get some strip sacks, some pressures, rush throws, tip balls, all over that. So who's going to get their hands on a football and make the most of it on the flip side? I think that's a really good pick, Ryan. I like that game.
I love that pick. I mean, here you have the Giants have, for the first time, a sense of direction that they really haven't had since they won Super Bowl 46 14 years ago. I mean, can you imagine Kevin Harlan calling a Cam Scatterboo bowling ball run on Sunday? That's going to hit so good. I
Oh,
mean,
it is.
it really is. Not to mention, Kevin Harlan's got NBA on Prime Video coming up. I mean,
Yeah.
NBA on NBC's 9 days away from tipping off, so that's good.
Yeah,
That's a
it's a
great
good
pick.
time. It's a good time, man. I'll tell you that. And
It
we'll
is.
preview these games
Yeah.
as we go along throughout the week. So it's going to be some good stuff. Can't wait for week 7, and our week 7
Can't believe
starts
we're already
early.
week 7.
Yeah, I
Your
can't
biggest
believe it.
takeaway from college football this past week?
Ohio State's just legit. I mean, that's pretty much that. Indiana going on the road. Wow. I mean, keep an eye on that. James Franklin, so long. That's about
Happy
it.
trails. Happy
trails. See you in Cancun. I think he'll find a job again. I think he will. But
Lexington, Kentucky. Mitch
God.
Barnhart, get on the phone.
Woo! Oh my! I mean, wow, that buyout was something. But
I'll take that on Saturday.
Yeah, man. And,
Okay.
Good stuff. But with that being said, Alex, I mean, we'll get on out of here. But guys, catch us on the next time when we preview week 7 coming up. That being Alex Frank, I'm Chase Younts. We'll see you guys next time on the Waiting All Day for SNF Podcast.